Very nice too to use some sort of little tunnels and things. But I think it's lovely how you sort of come out of a tunnel into a little bit of a surprise, really. So again, more water, different levels of water as well spilling over. That's lovely. More lovely statues. And I think that what they've tried to do, and I'm no expert, but these gardens are sort of have these views, these sort of aspects where you can see through into some space and really appreciate the garden from different angles. And that again is all very, very well designed. What a lovely, lovely construction this is. So not just a bridge. I'll just zoom on that so you can see there's another little statue there. Bit of a random shark, but why not? Bit of a Greek urn. And the statue there. But again, it's lovely how you can stand here and look back over where you've been, the tunnel I just walked through, and get this sort of really nice view, this nice vista. And what a nice bridge. Twisting and turning different directions. Looks amazing, really. And again, just offering another perspective, another view, another way to enjoy the garden from another angle, really. And a very quaint little seat there. But again, always that recurring theme of bamboo. And just a glimpse, I'll get in there in a second, of maples in the distance. I've seen that one before, it's lovely actually, so we'll get in there in a second. What a gorgeous, relatively unexpected place to, find here in the UK, really. The weather in the UK, by the way, has been particularly poor, you would say, inverted commas, as in it's not the classic sort of strong sun in July that you'd expect, high temperatures. Complete contrast to previous years. But I think after some of these plants got a bit of a scorching last year, they probably got a well-earned rest, really. It's warm enough. It's about 20 degrees at the moment. But just lovely. And I know some of my own plants in my garden have really done well. Actually, March, April, slightly difficult, particularly March, because it was very wet and very damp. But the plants that have got through that have done extremely well. So kind of a well-earned break this year for them. And again, a huge thing that ties Compton Acres to Japan is, and he's just disappeared, is the use of water and fish. Koi carp, of course, being the favourite. Again, another view. So that particular sort of water feature, you can probably see it from 5 or 6 different angles, and it looks fantastic from all of them. So, brilliant design. Another view of the same kind of statue. Again, some buildings behind which add to the curiosity almost. And then just panning down here, just a lovely, inviting little section. I think in the background they've used taller plants like bamboo, as you can see through the back there, to kind of screen things off. So again, it's quite clever. They can select what you can see, I suppose, really. A nice little walk through there, back kind of the way I've come, really. Nice that they're offering some seating as well, so you can stop and enjoy. And again, that's cleverly positioned so you can enjoy the garden from different aspects. So again, same bridge I just walked over. a little point of interest here, and then a beautiful view of it, just to maximise the use of what it is really. There's one of the crane statues from earlier, and just using the odd big conifer as well, just to give some height to the whole thing. So, but these varieties, I mean, that one's not ridiculously big and wide. It's very columnar in nature, and it's grown straight up. But there's also some massive sort of weeping plants here as well, that at least you can walk under. So again, very, very clever planting and use of different varieties really. So again, another beautiful view. You've got the water over there, the bridge I've just walked over. Lovely bamboo planting. Again, carefully chosen so it's not going to overwhelm, because this is a shorter variety. And there in full view is a magnificent dissected acer. Again, just in the right spot really. Enough room to grow into. So whoever's planted these knew absolutely how they grow. These weeping varieties do take a lot longer to grow than most. But the reward is the amazing structure inside, as you can see. What variety is it? I don't like guessing really, but probably Tamukiyama or something like that, one of the older sort. It's quite open structured actually, so it could well be. But I'm open to suggestions. But the way it contorts back and forth is just absolutely gorgeous. And being able to see through it, and because they've raised it up as well, I'd hazard a guess that this was quite deliberate. So you get the chance to kind of feel as though you're really almost inside the tree. Again, just marvellous, and sort of bodes well towards the main event of the Japanese garden that's coming. Once again here you've got a classic weeping maple planting overlooking the water. Lots of algae on green, but that's okay, all adds to the effect really. Again, the reddish trees against the green works extremely well. I must say these statues are quite eclectic, shall we say, really. But I just like the novelty aspect, I suppose. There's a enormous crab statue there, which is rather lovely. So just leaving that sort of specific section, again, it's lovely how they've kind of sectioned these gardens off. There's a lovely little walkway here full of statues. I think it's just beautiful how you feel as though you're sort of walking from one zone to another. The path always sort of winds, which makes it far more interesting, of course. And there you can see some buildings actually in the background. But again, there's many areas where, for example, there's really tall bamboo. So deliberate, no doubt, just to make sure that we've obscured those buildings really. Probably planted a lot later than the rest of the garden to do that. Lots of hydrangeas. Again, backed with more bamboo. Yeah, it was very tempting actually of them to sort of literally have very clear-cut sort of, just only Japanese plants in the Japanese section. But actually it's almost impossible to do that, because so many of the plants that we know and love in the UK are in fact originate from Japan, or the Far East more generally. So camellias, azaleas, that sort of thing, we've kind of taken them in and made them our own. But I think because in general the Japanese climate is so similar to that of the UK, they've done fantastically well. It's hard to believe that until about 150 odd years ago, many of these plants were never seen in the UK really, but they certainly do remarkably well here. So here we have very sort of non-Japanese or Far Eastern kind of planting, but just absolutely gorgeous. I think the garden, and I'm no expert, being honest, but I think garden design is almost like a very, very slow firework display, to be honest. So you want things happening continually all year round to really sort of create interest and keep you going back there, I suppose. But for the summer, this does exactly that. So very, very good, very clever, but very much aimed at sort of summer interest. But having said that, you've still got sort of variegated leaf plants, etc., to keep it going, looking good into the the spring, the autumn, and even the winter, actually. So some of these sort of evergreens in the garden more generally will certainly do that and add a bit of structure to the whole thing. So again, we're branching out a bit more from just the Japanese stuff on this video, but absolutely, why not, really? So we've got a section here called the Heather Garden, and rightly so. Again, what better for all year round interest, really? I think I'm generalising, but I think some plants sort of have their moment. They're just spectacular, like peonies, for example, look just amazing. But then a week or two down the line, it's kind of game over. They're nice leaf plants, and that's great, but they go from being really spectacular to just okay, really. Whereas others last longer, but perhaps haven't got that spectacular aspect to them. So in that category, I'd probably put this as Sakazuki. Again, I'm cheating here, but I've been here before, so I kind of know some of the trees quite well, I suppose. But it looks lovely. I mean, it really does, and it's got these sort of almost like they're maple leaves, but they're quite bat-like. They just look great. So I think a Sakazuki is fairly easy to spot, actually, because it has this sort of classic sort of palmate maple leaf, but the leaves are really kind of fat and coming to a point. It's probably not very well described, but it's certainly quite recognisable. But this tree looks lovely. It really does. It has a nice sort of upright growing habit, sort of classic tree structure rather than a shrub, really. But what you're rewarded with the Sakazuki is something that's nice all year and just absolutely spectacular in the autumn. So my plan is to come back here in the autumn, basically, and sort of revisit this. But this has some of the best autumn colours of any Japanese maple. It will go a sort of vivid red colour, or it should do. So again, just another excuse, another reason to come back and revisit. Some more statues here. Some of them might not be everyone's cup of tea, perhaps, but why not? And again, I suppose the statues just add some sort of permanence. They're always going to be here 365 days a year, really, looking really nice. So it adds a bit of structure to the whole thing. But just looking back now, just walking backwards and trying not to walk into anybody or anything. That's that Sakazuki. I mean, this tree's old, many, many years old, decades. But it's always good, I think, to see what they can become. Interesting, the one I've got at home is much more spreading than this. It seems to be heading off in all sorts of directions. So even though it should be genetically the same, it's amazing how different conditions and different random variations somehow in the environment can make changes. Some nice pieces of artwork here. Again, really eclectic in nature, to be honest with you, but I kind of don't mind that at all. Just moving over here, I kind of like this one. It's just a female face, but the way they've got that backed actually with the grass behind looks really, really cool. Yeah, just a really nice bronze statue. Just a touch beyond my price bracket, unfortunately, but never mind. I'm sure when I get to about 10-20 million subscribers that that could be on the agenda. I don't think that's going to happen. I just do this for fun. But wow, very, very impressive. So here we have another little sort of walkway, not a tunnel this time, but guiding you onwards, and the first glimpse of one of my favourite signs in this garden. So I really hope you're enjoying the content of these videos. If you are, if you could like and subscribe to the channel, that would be fantastic. And please hit the notification bell as well, because that way you'll know when I upload more. I'm really, really pleased with how things have progressed, and this little channel sort of growing quite nicely, really. So thanks for all those that subscribed already, and a special thanks to all those that ask questions or, you know, have ideas. And please let me know if you want any more different content, because we can do that. And I hope to see you soon in another video. Cheers.